Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. My guest today is Stacey Heiny, and she's going to be making what sounds like an amazing recipe using my favorite ingredient, potato. She's going to be making hash brown veggie cups. Let's learn all about her today. Please welcome her to the show. It's nice to meet you, Stacey.
Thanks, Chef AJ. I'm super honored and thrilled to be here today.
Well, I can't wait to learn more about you. Even before you do the recipe, I'd love to know what your journey is on a plant-based diet.
Yeah, so it all started when my husband and I went to a indie, like a new theater, like an indie theater. And the film called Fast Food Nation was being shown. Avril Lavigne is in that. And at the end, it showed what happens, to the animals at a slaughterhouse. And after that, it was just, that was like over a decade ago. And I was like, I can't do that anymore. And it kind of started with me, releasing myself from eating meat, and then it was chicken, and then it was fish, and then it was eggs, and then it was dairy. So it was kind of a journey. But I also read Alicia Silverstone's book called The Kind Diet. And that really opened my eyes to, what not only eating plants can do for our bodies, but also for the planet and of course the animals. So it's been over a decade that I've been fully plant-based, and now I teach people how to do it. And, it's been super rewarding, and a lot of people's lives have changed because of it. So it's great.
I'm so happy. Well, you look amazing. I don't, maybe you looked amazing before, but you certainly look amazing now.
Thank you. Thank you. I've always been active, and, I thought I cared about my health, but like, it's just so funny when I look back at when I thought I was eating healthfully, I was making, I was eating these brownies that were made with like fake sugar, I don't know. It's just that diet culture. It was crazy. We fell into it. My husband and I both, like, we would buy like the weight loss, like bars and stuff like that. I was never super overweight, but I was very uncomfortable in my body from the standard American diet. So yeah.
I can imagine. I see you have a little sidekick with you. Is he a plant-based person as well?
Of course. Cohen, are you plant-based? Are you vegan? Yeah, totally.
Did you have a vegan pregnancy?
Oh, yes. Yes, I did.
That's fantastic. So he's basically vegan before birth.
Oh yeah, totally. And I ate a lot of sea vegetables when I was pregnant. I was I really wanted that iron. So it was very interesting to understand like what cravings I was going to have. I had no idea what I was going to crave. I didn't crave like cupcakes or junk food. I craved like, sea greens and potatoes. That was pretty much like I loved my pregnancy food. It was so good.
You told me you were in the Midwest. Did you have any problem getting support for a plant-based pregnancy?
Yeah, it was a little bit new for I had a midwife, and it was a little bit new for her. She did have a vegan client prior to me who actually owns a vegan cafe in town. So she was like, you need to eat a lot of smoothies. And, there was a lot of emphasis on protein, just making sure that we're getting enough protein. But I ate what my body wanted me to eat, and I had a thriving pregnancy. So
that's great. Are there a lot of plant eaters in your community?
No, Chef AJ, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard here in Indiana. And I know that you love Hawaii, and we went to Kauai in November, and like, even though there weren't like a whole bunch of restaurants open, which we don't even eat out a lot anyways, but there was a farmer's market every single day. And we are farmers here in Indiana as well. We have an organic farm, and we sell produce. And it was just amazing to be able to eat fresh produce every single day, and to learn about, the farming that they do there. And ideally we would live there, but we live here in Indiana. It's a lot of hard.
You're a lot prettier than most farmers I've met.
Oh, thanks. Well, I kind of actually retired from the hard farming when when I was like 9 months pregnant. I was like, I'm kind of done. So my husband does a lot of that, and we have helpers now. But I still do backyard gardening with Cohen.
What crops do you farm?
What do we farm? Okay, so we farm. Okay, Cohen wants to ask you a question, Jeff.
Of course. What would you like to know? A little louder. At Hawaii, what did we eat?
Pineapple and ice cream.
Okay, we ate pineapple and ice cream. Okay, so Chef AJ, if you ever go to Kauai, you need to visit Sugarloaf Pineapple Farm, okay? In an ideal world, we would acquire this farm and just move there. That's actually like a dream of ours. But the pineapples are white, and they were exponentially, like, they were so good. And they put them through a champion juicer without the without the little filter. And it was just frozen pineapple in basically, what's it called? Nice cream, but pineapple, just straight up pineapple. For sharing that story, Cohen.
Oh, that sounds amazing, Cohen. I mean, a pineapple in general is amazing, but like at Disneyland, they have the Dole Whip, but unfortunately, even though it's dairy free, they still put sugar in it. But pineapple's sweet.
It's healthy Dole Whip. It's literally just pineapple. We don't need to add sugar. No way. Why would we?
I don't know why they can't be an option like that. Even in places that are selling dairy and sugar, why can't they just have one option for us like that?
Totally. I know. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
I forgot what you asked me.
I think I asked if there was a lot of what crop you.
Well, what do we farm? I mean, okay, so Swiss chard, kale, turnips, radish, zucchini, tomatoes, some herbs. What else, Kyle? Peppers, lettuce, arugula. We do microgreens, spinach, cabbage. We're gonna do Brussels sprouts this year. Kaboka squash. You like kaboka.
I love that. I have one. I can't believe it's summer and I'm still getting them. That's probably my favorite of all the squashes.
Same here. I have two back here. I actually just got them from the International Grocery Store. They have a whole palette of it, and I'm like, how am I still getting these? I'm so excited about it. And yeah, so we're trying to perfect the kaboka squash, but we've done pumpkin, melons, but it's farming is like you get one chance every year to see what's going to work, but those are the crops that we know we can do, and every year we kind of experiment with new ones. So
that is so cool. Was it very easy or difficult when you first adopted a plant-based diet?
Oh, for me, it was easy because I felt better when it was kind of instant, even though I did for a very short amount of time, Chef, eat like fake chicken nuggets, just because I literally had no idea what else to eat. I was just like, oh my gosh, if I'm getting rid of chicken, what am I going to eat in place of it? Right? You think that's funny, don't you? He thinks it's funny when we talk about like eating animals, because he's just like, what? Like we have books about how we don't do that. But
and I have some books.
You do have some books, yeah. So
I have some
yeah,
books
no, it really wasn't hard for me.
In Mommy,
Nutrition, yeah. We have nutrition books.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
What about bodies?
About the human body and what plants do for the body.
That's great. You got to start them young, right?
That's right, for sure. But no, it wasn't hard for me. I mean, the culture is a little bit rough, but I had my purpose behind what I wanted to do, and then I got my education with nutrition, and after that, it's just like, that it's easy. It's an easy decision, super easy.
Right. What do you mostly do in the plant-based world?
It is going to be yummy. What
do you do? Do you coach people? What is
my main job is, I work with a B corporation called Beauty Counter. So we are, I educate about low tox living in that regard when it comes to like personal care and like your environment and what you're bringing into your home. But I'm actually an ex Pilates studio owner. So I have an exercise science background, and so I teach people chef, basically about lifestyle wellness in three. Okay, you're gonna go back with daddy now, honey, because I'm talking with chef. But in three different ways. Basically, I educate about low tox living, I educate about plant-based eating, and I educate about mindset, because I think that if you don't have the right mindset, you can't adopt any of these healthful living patterns, right?
Absolutely. Did you like to cook before you became plant-based, and do you enjoy cooking now?
I was very obsessed with cooking before I went plant-based. My dad is the type of person that when it comes to cooking, he will, he'll find a chili powder and he'll spend like a year like perfecting the chili powder blend, and I do the same type of thing. And so when I went plant-based, I really was cooking all the things. I was using oil, I was using sugar, I was using salt, like on a normal basis. I have actually not been doing that over about the last year and a half, and feel way better than I ever thought I could. I thought I was feeling well, but then I cut those out and I'm like, wow, I feel even better. It's pretty amazing. But I would do all the gourmet things and take all the time to make like really, intricate dishes and like fancy cupcakes, and which we can totally do without salt, oil, and sugar too. It's just a little different. Like I'm still trying to perfect like, frosting without maple syrup. And, how do you make like a light colored frosting? And my friend, oh gosh, why am I drawing a blank on her name? She's been on your show twice. I just interviewed her on my podcast. Oh, I feel so dumb. She was at True North Health Center. Oh goodness gracious. She's a chiropractor in Canada, but oh my Lord, her name will come.
Oh, no, wait, not Stephanie Peacock.
Yes, my friend, it's Stephanie Peacock. Yeah, Stephanie Peacock. She was explaining to me how I could make a date frosting with cashews and still use, a safe food coloring. And I'm going to do that. I'm very excited. So
Nice.
yeah.
Plant-based Louise, who's watching live, is actually my guest tomorrow, said your farm sounds incredible, and she wanted to know, where is it in Indiana, if you're allowed to say?
Oh yeah. So we are actually it's a Sheridan address, but that's kind of, if you're not local, then you don't know what that means. But it's we're very, very close to Westfield, central Indiana, a suburb of Indianapolis, basically. And we have 10 acres. We sold 2 of them to our neighbors so that they can have a flower farm. So that's really fun. So we're next door to a flower farm, and we have a few greenhouses, and we don't actually live there yet. We've had the farm for 7 years, maybe. And so my husband works a corporate job, and then he goes out to the farm and farms at night. And yeah, that's what we do. We sell at the farmers markets and share that, and hopefully we can infiltrate ourselves into some local restaurants eventually. Ideally, I would teach people, plant-based cooking classes on our farm eventually, but we will see.
That sounds fantastic. Tell me about the job that you have in the beauty industry, because I love all kind of girly things like makeup and things.
Yeah. So back when I owned my Pilates studio, I met a woman that was working for Beauty Counter, which is what I now work for. And this really spoke to me, because I was teaching people about how to move their body. And I was also teaching them about how to eat plant-based at that time. And, I thought I was doing all the right things in order to live a healthy lifestyle, but I really did not know, Chef, about the lack of regulation in the personal care industry and like in our cleaning products too. There actually hasn't been a law passed in over 83 years, a federal law in over 83 years, governing the chemicals that go into our personal care products. And so that's why Beauty Counter was started about 8 years ago. They're a B corporation, so they put equal emphasis on people, product, and planet. And like what they do is basically educate people and provide a solution. So we educate people about that lack of regulation. There's only 30 chemicals currently banned in the United States. Well, thank you. Is that your human body book, Cohen? Okay. Thank you, honey. Okay. Kyle, can you please come get Cohen? But so when I found out that there was only 30 chemicals banned and the EU has banned over 1,400, I was like, whoa, I need to become involved in this. And so I did. And that was 5.5 years ago. And so now we share, we have skincare, we have cosmetics, we have body. But we basically took the European Union standards and exceeded them by several hundred chemicals that are known to be carcinogens, hormone disruptors, known allergens, and more. So I know you're super into clean, like clean skin care too. And we all should be. We should all be using safer, regardless, of course, if it's Beauty Counter or not. But like, I will say, Beauty Counter is truly the leader in the clean beauty industry, and that's kind of what that's the brand that a lot of brands follow in regards to ingredient selection, heavy metal testing. It even goes down to like the packaging that you're putting your products in, because the packaging could potentially leach into the actual product. So
Is this a product that you buy online only? Is it in stores, parties?
Yeah, we're a direct retail brand. So you can just buy straight off of beautycounter.com, or you can buy with a consultant like myself. That's the majority of our business, where you buy through someone. But we also have freestanding stores, because our mission is much bigger than just a consultant base. It's our mission is to get safer into the hands of everyone. So we want people that are walking down New York City streets to be able to have access to clean beauty. So we have standing stores in Denver, in New York City, in Nantucket, and hopefully are going to grow those satellite locations soon.
That's fantastic.
And it's really exciting too. We actually advocate. So I'm going to Capitol Hill next year to advocate for better personal care product laws. Our CEO was right alongside the Environmental Working Group president 2 years ago and testified in front of Congress to ask for better personal care product laws. So it's a really
I'm looking at the website and it says more than 1,800 ingredients we restrict in our formulation. That's amazing.
Yeah.
People don't realize what you put on your skin can be as important as what you put in your mouth.
Totally. Yeah. Your environment matters so much. It's a lot of what I teach.
But are you really into like makeup and how to apply it? Do you teach that as well?
I am. Like today on my personal Facebook page, I was like, I'm getting ready for Chef AJ. I'm going to put my makeup on. And I'm no pro. I actually, on my high school like sheet, it says that I was going to go to beauty school, and I never did. I actually ended up going to school for exercise science instead. But I do like doing makeup. I really truly have never taken like professional classes, but it's just kind of like cooking. You try, and if you look silly, then you try again.
Well, that's the thing. It's not like tattoos. It comes off.
It totally comes off. You can just wipe it right off. It's not a big deal. Yeah,
that's great. Elise is asking, for your plant-based pregnancy, how much weight did you gain?
It was like 35 pounds. Yeah. 35 pounds, I think.
Nice. I don't get why people gain so much weight in a pregnancy when the kid doesn't weigh that. You know what I mean? Like,
I know, it's crazy. Well, I know you do retain fluid. But yeah, I know. I think there's an American standard that's a little bit different than other countries too. So it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. It's funny. People are talking in the chat about how Europe has higher standards, and they do it for their food as well.
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely. They do. When it comes to pesticides. And we know that as certified organic farmers and naturally certified natural growing farmers, like we allow even organic farmers in this country, they're allowed to put some weird chemicals out there. So it's good to know your farmer if you can. And it's good to know, what you're putting on in your body for sure.
Absolutely.
And going back to the pregnancy thing, just real quick, just to make sure that people know, when you do get pregnant, it's funny to say, yeah, I'm eating for two, but like at the end of the day, a pregnant woman really only needs 300 to 500 additional calories a day to grow a human. So
that's amazing. I did not know that. Nancy says, is the high chair you used for cone, is that a high chair specifically to stand on the kitchen counter? She's looking for something safe for her grandson.
Yeah, this is called a counter helper. And so he cooks with me, mixes his hemp milk and stuff like that. And you can adjust the height. So it's super cool. It can be really like tall for when they're really tiny and goes down for when they get taller. It's awesome.
That is cool. I wish they made one for my dog Bailey, because she
yeah, she would love. I bet she would love to be at eye level and watch you cook.
Absolutely, because I always feel so bad because she's so little and she's down so low. That's really cool. Hey, well, speaking of cooking, what are you going to cook for us today?
Okay, so we're going to make vegged-out hash brown cups because these are really delicious, and I love potatoes. I really, sweet potatoes and potatoes are probably the best food on earth, aside from mamey sapote. If you've never had a mamey sapote, that's a very close second. But okay, these are so good. And this recipe is ridiculously versatile. You can switch out the colors of the potatoes that you're using, the types of potatoes that you're using, the herbs that you use. You can switch out. You can even put a little bit of California balsamic in this, but this is super versatile and really, really fast. So I'm going to show you guys what we're going to make. This is vegged-out hash brown cups. I'm going to basically measure out the cups into my food processor. What we're going to be doing is using the blade that is the fine shred on your food processor. Okay, guys. So, it actually works with the large blade or the larger shred. I've tried both ways, but we're going to do the fine shred today. And it's just zucchini, bell peppers, tomatoes, and sweet potatoes. So I'm going to cut this up. And again, this recipe is so forgiving, and you do not have to chop super gourmet style or anything. I did put on the recipe instructions to make your chunks like 1 inch. That's just a rough estimate, but this is super, super simple and comes together in a flash.
Does Cone like every type of kind of plant food that you've given him so far?
Does he like every plant food? There is raw broccoli is a little bit bitter for him. So that's kind of, he loves cooked broccoli, but he doesn't eat raw broccoli like for fun.
I don't like raw broccoli either, and I'm a grown-up. You
don't like raw broccoli? I
not raw. I like it cooked. I never cared for it raw. Like I just don't like raw cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower and broccoli. I like them steamed.
Steamed is best. Which, by the way, I want to ask you, Chef, do you steam in the Instant Pot? Because I cannot successfully cook.
A lot of people are going to be upset, but I love my Pampered Chef microwave steamer. It makes perfect steamed broccoli in 4 minutes. I can't beat it. It doesn't come out as good on the stove or in the Instant Pot. Instant Pot makes veggies mushy. I like it for everything but vegetables.
Like ridiculously mushy. And I was like, I put it on for like 1 or 2 minutes, and my broccoli was like, mush. And I've tried it in so many different ways. So.
Even 0 minutes could be.
Too much. But he really loves most things. I tried to give him some weird foods when he was like really young. Like he likes to munch on like raw seaweed pieces. Like he loves that. And that's a really, really great source of iron and like trace minerals. But he really eats pretty well. He goes through stages that he becomes picky, but that's just every kid and just something that we have to deal with. So.
Does he have a favorite food, a favorite fruit or vegetable or starch?
Medjool dates and are like his absolute favorite. Medjool dates, and he really, really does like mame sapote. Which,
Where do you get that?
okay, so I buy it from Miami Fruit. I heard about Miami Fruit from Robbie Barbero and, you know, of Mastering Diabetes. And let me grab mine real quick. I want to show you it.
Because I've heard of it from Robbie, but I've never tasted it. I don't think I've even seen it.
So this is like, it looks, you know, it's like a football. They are huge, these huge fruits, and they come very hard when they're delivered. But once they're ripe, once they're really wrinkly and they become flat on the bottom. And these are very, very calorically dense foods, like very calorically dense. And literally you open it up once it's perfectly ripe. If it's not ripe, like it's going to taste super bitter and disgusting. But once it's ripe and perfect, it is like eating pumpkin pie. And it's the texture of an avocado.
Wow.
So
you can only get it shipped to you from this company. Then it's not like local.
I have seen them at international grocery stores locally, but they did not taste the same, like at all. So, and they are quite expensive. But if you use Mastering Diabetes code when you buy your Miami Fruit, you will get them on a discount. So I highly suggest everybody tries mame sapote.
You know, Robbie's going to be on the show next week, and I'm going to ask him to cut one open and show us and eat it.
Yes. Well, I'll cut this one open just to show you guys so that you can see, because it's perfectly ripe. But he has like a whole box. I just watched his Instagram stories, and he's getting all of the Miami Fruit right now because he moved to Miami, and I'm super jealous. But this is what it looks like on the inside.
It almost looks a little like papaya. It
does look like papaya. I don't even, you know, I thought that I like every tropical fruit, but I'm not a big fan of papaya. It's definitely a very different flavor than papaya. It literally tastes like pumpkin pie. It is crazy town. It's so good. It's delicious. Okay, back to the recipe. I'm literally just putting this in the chute, guys, like these chunks of vegetables, and we're gonna zhuzh it up, and it's gonna be pretty much like done after that. All we have to do is put it into the cups. So we're doing garlic, zucchini, bell peppers, and potatoes. I'm gonna show you what I made today. I made them with Japanese sweet potatoes today. So these are white, but today for this recipe, I'm gonna be using the purple potatoes that I buy from Hawaii Veggie Farm. So they're white on the outside and they're purple on the inside. And these are Hawaiian sweet potatoes. And I like the way that it turns out with all the different types of sweet potatoes, but I have yet to try it with kabocha squash, which I want to do soon. I don't know if the kabocha squash would be a little bit too wet, but I think it's worth trying. You could even probably use kabocha squash instead of zucchini. But okay, so I need to push this through. And the cool part about this recipe too is that it calls for garlic, and you don't even have to chop the garlic first. You literally just put the whole cloves in. It's super easy.
I looked up the caloric density of sapote, and it's 600 calories a pound. So it's like the same as legumes.
Okay. Yeah. I just remember, like, I brought it to my mom last year, and I was like, this is so good. And she's like, this is like one of the highest calorie foods. I was like, oh, really? Because she looked it up. It's so good. They're delicious.
Well, now you've got me intrigued.
Oh my gosh. Just so good. It's a very special fruit, in my opinion. Okay, so I'm gonna I put some fresh dill in this one because we had a lot in the backyard garden. So fresh dill, you can totally use like toasted cumin in this. I have used the pepperoni spice that you recommend from local spicery in these. It's really good with that spice. Have you used the umami?
I love that. I love that broth spice. I do. It's really good.
It's really yummy. I think it's that porcini mushrooms that really that really gives it that flavor.
So you had a Pilates studio. Do you still do Pilates? And when you did it, was it one the kind with the machines, the mat class, or both?
We had mat, reformer. So we had 5 reformers. I sold the studio because to pursue beauty counter and be home with my son, and pursue my nutrition coaching. So I no longer have it, but we did, when I did, it was Pilates reformer, Pilates mat, bar classes, and yoga. So I currently just practice Pilates. I do still have a private client that I teach virtually. But I personally practice bar, and I really like walking and some mat Pilates. Pilates is really awesome. I mean, it's really good for your back and, you know, for just activities of daily living. I know you like yoga, right?
I like yoga. You know, when I go to Rancho La Puerta to teach, I do like the machines, but the mat classes, because I don't have very good core strength, I find them exceedingly difficult.
They're so hard. They're so much harder than a machine. And people are like, oh, you know, I want to do the machine on Pilates because I think it's harder. And I'm like, no, have you ever actually done a Pilates mat class? Because I think it's probably the hardest like workout. I think it's so hard. So, yeah. Okay, we're almost done with the blender. Just 3 cups of this, and then we're done. 1 more cup of potatoes.
People are commenting on how beautiful your bracelets are.
Thank you. They're from Kauai.
That's
They're
why.
from a gal that was that handmade them. She was this young girl, and we went to these cute little shops one day, and she had a whole basket of them. And I was like, I want every single one. So they're like Hawaiian friendship bracelets, and I told her that I wanted to buy all of them, and her face was like, are you kidding? Like, she was just like shocked. And I love them so much. They match with everything, and they're super meaningful. So, and I supported a small business, which really means a lot to me.
Me too. I like supporting small businesses.
Yes. All right. So, okay, this is the last zhuzh. Oh, I need to add the tomatoes. This recipe, guys, calls for cherry tomatoes, but you can totally use Roma tomatoes. Like, you can just pop a few Roma tomatoes in there, or just measure out a cup of tomatoes roughly. This recipe is super forgiving. All right. So it was a year and 7 months ago, I got certified as a Food for Life instructor with the Physicians Committee. Neil Barnard. And I'm doing a cooking class coming up at the end of this month. If you like simple recipes, you can join that. Anybody can feel free to join that. I always forget to talk about my Food for Life classes because I just like end up sending newsletters about them and stuff like that. But that's something that's coming up that we're excited about. Okay, so this is what the recipe looks like just in the thing. And I will tell you guys, I think the best kitchen tool is your hands. So don't freak out. My hands are clean, but I'm going to use my hands to scrape this out and to mix it together. And then I'm going to rinse them off.
And plus, you're the one that's eating it, so.
It's just so much easier. I used to work in the food industry, and we would make, back in the day, you know, chicken salad, egg salad, and tuna salad. No longer would I make that anymore, but I still use my hands nonetheless, because we would make really large bowls of them for a pie company that I used to work at. It's just the easiest way to mix, and you can kind of get everything together. Yes, it's messy, but this is the way that I cook half the time. So you just want to make sure that you get the zucchini and the potato and the bell pepper like evenly distributed, so that, you know, the zucchini doesn't put too much water out into one of the cups. You just want to get it all mixed together. And this is a time that you can add the spices, additional spices if you want to. A really, really awesome addition is like the mustard dill balsamic from California Balsamic. That is so, so good in these. Or crushed red pepper is really awesome too. But I'll tell you, because it calls for 4 garlic cloves, the garlic itself really lends like an amazing amount of flavor. So this is what the mixture looks like before you pop it into the cups. And I wanted to show you what the cups look like. You need to just let them sit. I mean, you can totally eat them straight out of the oven when they're warm, but they kind of fall apart just because of the fluid from the zucchini. But if you let them cool completely, they will hold their shape pretty well. And I will also say that I have experimented with making just hash browns on, you know, a cooktop. So I don't personally cook with nonstick cookware. That's just me. So I have kind of mastered making it on a cast iron without oil, but you got to make sure that the thing is like completely, you know, it's like at the right temperature so that it won't stick. But you can totally cook these in a skillet too. It's again, a very, very forgiving recipe. But all I'm going to do to finish off this recipe is put my, I use parchment paper baking cups. These are unbleached, so we're not using any. And I know that you use like nonstick silicone cups. I don't know if these would work in that or not. Like you would have to make sure that they're completely cool. And I don't know if they would pop out without breaking. So, so I just use these, and I will just spoon the mixture into the cups, and then we're good. Then we pop in the oven. 400, you can bake them for longer than 20 minutes, which is what I put, or 25 minutes, which is what I put on the recipe. They can be like up to 30 minutes without any problem at all. It just depends on how, you know, like dry you want them to be. That's it on the recipe. Does anybody have any questions on the recipe, like any variations or ideas that you feel like sharing?
Let me see. They're all chatting. Yeah, Melissa's saying, do you season your cast iron skillet with oil though? And Jesse's saying, how do you maintain it if you don't use oil?
It's a really good question. I have not personally seasoned it with oil since I have, I guess, challenged myself to not cook with oil over the last like year and a half. And I just make sure that I wash it right away. I don't use soap, but I do just use water and a sponge. And I make sure that I take care of it, you know? And you have to make sure that you dry it after you're done cooking with it, so that it doesn't rust. This is what they look like when you fill the cups. It should make 12. If you're afraid that they're going to be too full, you could go to like 15 of them, but I just fill them really, really high, and the moisture just, you know, these were really full earlier, and the moisture just kind of sinks down. But yeah, it's tricky without the nonstick. I haven't used nonstick for over a decade. But, you know, I don't think that I think that if I do need to get my nonstick skillet or my cast iron skillet seasoned, I will, and just trust that it's not going to transfer a lot of the oil.
I'm sure you need like a teaspoon, you know.
It's not going to be.
I don't think it's going to be a significant amount.
Yeah. So, yes. I just don't know how to do it. So I would have to have somebody do that for me, because I think my dad would do it for me.
Does your dad eat plants too?
He does, but not exclusively. I'm actually going to give him, he said that he would be open. I was very excited. The Shirzai's, their new book, the 30-day Alzheimer's solution. Alzheimer's, my grandma had it. So his mother had it. And I'm like, would you be open to trying some recipes from this book. And he was like, sure, wouldn't hurt. And I was like, yes. So he told me that a few days ago. I'm really excited. I'm going to give that book to him. And yeah, I encourage my family to eat plants as much as I possibly can.
That's nice. So there's no like meetups or groups for this. You don't want to start one locally now that the pandemic.
There are there's like an indie vegan and vegetarian society and stuff like that. And there's even like a raw meetup group that we met with like right when Cone was born. But I will say that a lot of them are kind of junk food vegan, Chef. So it's kind of hard. And so, yeah, I think that my husband and I talk about all the time how we would love to have our own, like a place to open that people could eat. You know, I actually used to sell food at the farmer's market. Like I made a cashew queso cheese and like these raw energy balls. And that just honestly got to be too much and I couldn't keep up with it. But it would be so great to be able to spread this as much as we possibly can in some way. Hopefully, you know, if we get like an actual place that people could go to the bathroom and stuff like that out of the farm, like I will host events for sure. Show people how to cook, you know, show people how to eat more plants. And I do that already through my cooking classes, but those are virtual. You know, now that things are opening up, I think that having a community, I don't know, is even better. So yeah.
I don't know if you have this handy, but can you show us some of your favorite beauty products from the company that you work for?
Oh gosh, yeah, sure. I do have them handy. Give me just 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, while she's getting her products, I'll tell you the guest for tomorrow. She's watching live today. Her name is Plant-Based Louise, and she's going to be doing another fabulous cooking demo. And the Dr. Doug Lyle Jen Hawk video will be up by 1 p.m. We apologize that it did not go live to YouTube yesterday, just to Facebook. But if given a choice, I prefer you watch on YouTube because then you can participate in our wonderful Zoomunity chat. And in general, YouTube is the more reliable of the two. But yesterday, it was exactly the opposite. So that's that. Any questions for me while we're waiting for the beautiful Stacey to return? So Melissa says, I don't love that it's MLM. You know, there's a lot of good products that are MLM. Unfortunately, like, because then I could never buy Tupperware, right? And I love my Tupperware. So, but I respect that if you don't want to get it, but I'm curious to see what her favorite products are. I love the fact that they don't use all those chemicals. Let's see. JL says, I was surprised that the Scherzai's book has EVOO. And yeah, you know, I think they're trying to cast a wider net, is my guess. Oh, Lori, I'll ask your question about friendship bracelets. Yeah. So Lori wants to know, do you have a contact for those beautiful friendship bracelets or the artists?
No, my husband just told me that that somebody was asking that. I don't, but I probably could hunt her down from. I mean, if I find it, we will put it in the show, like notes.
Maybe we can have her on the show.
Oh my gosh, it would be so cute. Yeah. That would be awesome. I will try my best to find it, but it was like this little, you know, shop within a shop. So I will try my very best to find it. I would love to buy more, to be honest, and give them to people because they're so pretty. They're just so pretty. There's all different colors.
They're beautiful. I love things that are rainbow colored.
Yeah, awesome. So I have some things. We've got a lot. I have pretty much everything because I've been doing this for 5.5 years and I use it all. But one thing that I think is super important to talk about is sunscreen. And I don't know if you just recently saw there was like 250 sunscreens that were tested. And they found benzene, which is a known carcinogen, in like 75 of them, including like Sunbalm and like Neutrogena, like brands that people are using on a normal basis. So that actually was just a few weeks ago that independent lab test did that. And so when you are looking at sunscreens, you should always look for mineral sunscreens, ones that are not chemical based, not only for your body, but also because if you are going in the ocean or, if you're going in the ocean, they could kill the coral reefs, these chemicals, like oxybenzone. So you want to avoid them. So get a mineral based sunscreen. And then, and I really like the face sunscreen from Beauty Counter because it also blocks against blue light, which that's what makes the sky blue. And of course, like we are exposed to blue light all the time with the phone and the computer screens. So I use the face SPF. There's also a mask that I use all the time. This is the charcoal mask. It's made with kaolin clay and has peppermint essential oil in it. So it's very lovely. What else? Okay, so this is probably one of the most game-changing products that I have used for my skin. But I will say when I started with Beauty Counter, I was using like a baby wipe to wash my face. I had no regimen, but I think that everybody could benefit from a peel. And this is made from 15 fruit acids, and 9 of them resurface your skin like really gently, and then 6 of them hydrate. So this is called the overnight resurfacing peel. I think people should look into getting a peel. It doesn't like make your skin actually like peel off, but it's just a super gentle exfoliator that you put on before your night cream. And then
there's a question if the sunscreens are fragrance free, and what about letting go of sunscreen completely? I think that depending on where you live, that can be a really bad idea. In the desert, that would not be a good idea.
I mean, well, if Jessica Krant happens to listen to this, she would freak out and say, no way. She would say, do not let go of the sunscreen. Now, I do think that if you are, not in a place on earth that is like giving you a lot of exposure, like sun exposure, then going out for 10 to 15 minutes a day without sunscreen, I mean, I don't think that that's a big deal. I think that you want to make sure that your face is covered and maybe just your arms or your legs are getting that exposure so you can get the natural vitamin D. But I would recommend using a sunscreen on a normal basis. Otherwise, if you're going to be outside more than that, just to protect yourself. And what was the other question? Oh, fragrance free. Yeah, there's no, here's a fun fact. Fragrance is actually a trade secret in the beauty industry. So that one word could be up to 3,500 chemicals that they don't have to disclose to you. So that's where a lot of the hidden harmful chemicals are actually put underneath that one word fragrance. So if you have a sensitivity to it, then getting rid of fragrance is one of the best things you can do. But yes, if we do use anything to scent products, they have essential oils in them, but the SPF does not. It does not. Yeah. So last few things. This is my favorite line. This is what I use on my skin. It has an ingredient called bakuchiol. I'm sure you've heard of retinol. Retinol is a super powerful agent for anti-aging. But bakuchiol, which actually Dr. Krant talked about in my very recent podcast with her, bakuchiol is a really well-known effective anti-aging ingredient that is actually an Ayurvedic herb. And it's not as irritating as retinoids could be. So this is a really powerful ingredient, and it's in this line, which is in these like glass pink bottles called Counter Time. And this is what is our best anti-aging line. And the packaging itself is like gorgeous. It's this glass. It has Swiss Alpine Rose in it and that bakuchiol, which is really powerful for helping reversing the signs of aging. And then we have makeup. This is our foundation. We have got a lot of makeup. I didn't want to bring the whole thing, but those are some of my favorite things that I use.
All right. Well, you certainly look beautiful. So, but I'm sure you probably look beautiful without it too. So.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Let's see. What should we look for, or what should we make sure we don't have in over-the-counter sunscreen? Asks Stephanie.
Yeah. So, oxynoxate, I can't say it right. Oxynoxate I'm going to butcher it. I butchered it. Oxybenzone. Here's a really easy way to know if what you're using is safe. Go to the Environmental Working Group app on your phone. It's called Healthy Living. Or you can just go to environmentalworkinggroup.org and you can put in your personal care products and your cleaning products and your laundry detergent, and it's going to give you a rating from 1 to 10. What you want to do is stick below a 3. I will say that some of the Environmental Working Group approved products do have fragrance in them, but I would hands down not use fragrance. If you guys can avoid fragrance at all costs, not to say that you can't smell good. You can smell good with essential oils. I would avoid fragrance. So that's what I would look for on the back of my sunscreen. I would look for PEGs, which are polyethylene glycols. I would look for oxybenzone, and I would definitely avoid that. And I would also look for fragrance. And if any of those are in there, then I would avoid it. But again, if you go to the Environmental Working Group, there are going to be recommendations for safer sunscreens for you. And we are a partner with them. We work very closely with them, and the breast cancer prevention, the Women's Breast Cancer Prevention organization, to make sure that people are protected and that this information is getting out there.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Let's see. Am I going to source for these products in the show notes? Maybe I'm sure we have your website in the show notes so people could contact you.
Yeah, I think I did put them. Yeah, I did put my beauty counter link in there. Yeah.
That's great. How do you work with people in coaching? What is that like?
Yeah, so I was doing some one-on-one, and then I created a 12-week program called Holistic Life Shift, which I'm not currently enrolling anybody in right now because I am now working on a 12-month program. So what that's going to be is for women, particularly women in business, because I think that women in business make the world go round. Especially small business owners, right? Like entrepreneurs, people that are spearheading their industry and disrupting it, and being a change maker. So this program that I'm creating is going to be for women in business that want to ditch the toxic habits that are holding them back. And we're going to educate not only how to grow your business, but also how to eat plant-based, again, how to live low tox, how to create an environment within your home. Like you say, if it's in your house, it's in your mouth. Like, what are you going to do? We're going to clean out the pantry. We're going to clean out the refrigerator. We're going to set the environment up for success. And we're also going to work a lot on mindset. So that is what I currently do. But if anybody needs resources or help in the meantime, I have a free Facebook group. I have an Instagram handle. I've got my podcast, which the first 24 episodes so far, which we just launched the podcast not that long ago, just a few months ago, is all plant-based doctors and professionals. So trying to help educate people. There's some plant-based kids episodes in there so that you can understand how to raise plant-based children. And we're going to be moving with that podcast into more education on, low tox living, and of course, mindset, and how much that matters to live your best life.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Oh, there's a question about the SPF of your sunscreen. What is it?
Oh yeah. So this one is 25. The body is 30. And something that people don't know is that when you go above 30, it's like 1% of a difference. And a lot of the time, in terms of like protection, in terms of like broad spectrum protection. So a lot of people are like, I need 50, but actually like the difference between 50 and 30 in terms of sun protection is, I think it's literally 1 or 2% difference, like 96% to 98%. Like that's what you're getting in terms of a jump. And a lot of the times when you go above 30, you take that mineral, that safer sunscreen, and it has to have more chemicals added to it in order for it to be that higher protection. So that's something that you would want to weigh, your risks. You can talk to your dermatologist about that. They might not know that that when you go up above 30, that's the difference between, a safe sunscreen and a less than safer.
Great. One of the questions people love asking every guest is what you eat in a day.
Okay, great question. So I start my day with fruit. And I make a drink every morning with dates and like, this is like my coffee, if you will. It's like my morning drink. I blend dates together with a lot of the times recently I've been using Sencha, thanks to your recent episode with the tea gal.
Yeah, I love that. I put that in my water bottle.
Yeah, I bought her Sencha. What was that brand?
Say me.
Yeah, Steamy tea. So I bought her Sencha and I blend that. I actually mix Sencha with Tocos, which is like, it's supposed to be an adaptogen, but I'm really not quite sure if it is. It's actually like rice. It's like ground up rice. Might sound weird, but it's really good. So I make a hot drink, like a big drink with that, and then oatmeal, and then potatoes. I'm eating a lot of greens. I eat very simply. Like, I don't make elaborate recipes. Like, if I'm making a recipe, these cups are as elaborate as it gets. Like, I'm gonna eventually have, like ebooks and stuff like that. But to be honest, AJ, it's really hard for me to put recipes together now that these last few years I eat so simply. It's like, I'll eat a big bowl of broccoli with potatoes and be really happy, or a big, like I'll take this mame sapote and sit down and eat this and be incredibly happy, right? So I just eat whole food. I mean, I don't know if that's a good answer for who wants to ask or who is asking, but when we get our Miami fruit mangoes, I'll have a few of those. Like, I call my meals pretty simply.
I've interviewed probably over 1,000 people now, and the ones that seem to be really successful, whether it's from losing weight or just sticking with this lifestyle, they all eat simply. Dr. McDougall says we eat the same. I mean, and people they can't grasp that as a concept, but I really think that's the secret. And when you're not eating all those addictive foods, you really do enjoy, like, steamed rice and broccoli. It's delicious.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. And especially if you do, if you feel like you need all that extra flavor, go and buy some California balsamic, because it will change your life.
Yeah, and you're going to get 2 free bottles for being on the show today. If you want to try some of the new flavors. He's got a Persian lime now. He's got a ginger, so lots of new flavors.
Yeah, the ginger, we actually had that with broccoli and rice literally last night. And then I was like, this would be way better with some roasted red bell peppers in it, but it was literally broccoli, rice, and then ginger balsamic, and it was so good.
It is so good. You're
super simple and delicious. But yeah, I don't eat a lot of tofu. I would rather eat the whole bean. So yeah.
Nice.
I've tried making natto. Have you ever had natto?
I'm allergic to soy, so no, but I hear it's very good for you.
Yeah. So yeah, I have mastered a salt-free sauerkraut. So that's been fun.
Wow, you should come back and demonstrate that. That'll be amazing.
Well, it's really, really good with caraway seeds. Yeah, delicious. I love it.
Know how to, because this, Whole Foods used to sell a salt-free brand, and I can't find it anymore.
Yeah, I actually remember when they had it, and the girl was like, do you want me to open it for you? Because you can test, our food out before you buy it. And I was like, oh no, I'll just buy it. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to eat it. Like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I also cannot find, what else am I looking for that's salt-free? Do you have a baking soda and a baking powder alternative that you use?
Yeah, I have it in my Amazon store. There is a brand that's salt-free.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's Hain, Hain. I think that's the name of the company, but I have it in my Amazon store. Jessie says, I would love to see her salt-free sauerkraut with caraway seeds. Sounds yummy. Yep, it does.
Aw, cool. Well, I mean, it takes a while to make, right? Because you have to let it sit, but it's so easy. it's literally just shredded cabbage and spices, and you got to get your hands in there and like massage it, put it in ball jars. And yeah, I mean, I would be happy to do a little tutorial, but it would take like 5 minutes. So fast.
Great. Well, thank you so much. This has just been wonderful.
Well, thanks, Jeff. I am so thankful that you had me on your show.
Well, it's been a real treat getting to know you. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow when my guest is Plant-Based Louise, and she's going to be doing a hot dog happy hour, making 4 different kinds of hot dogs, plant-based, of course. Thanks again, Stacey, and your son is adorable.
Oh, thanks. Be well.